record. All right, so before we went away, I was telling you that yes, we looked at how the baby dog object is able to inherit or to use the functions that are defined in the in its super classes. Okay, all right. Now we have inheriting interface and implementation. I'm looking at how to say this quickly. So now, where we have inheriting interface and implementation, right? Interfaces are, let me say, they enable let me say the subclass to be able to define its own method or override the existing superclass methods and define them in its own particular way. Okay, for example, if you take the case of this baby dog and animals and eating and all of that, there is a way that you can call this method. There is a way, maybe some animals don't eat, they drink, for example. But if you consider that as eating, you can override this method that is defined for all the animals, and you say, okay, this animal only drinks, or this animal only chews, something like that. So it is possible for you to inherit the properties of your superclass, but at the same time, redefining the way you want them to function. Okay, redefining them, not taking them exactly as they are. You simply just take the name of the function and then you put it, you define it in your own way. All right, so that is the essence of inheritance, and that is what we call here inheritance interface, inheriting interface and implementation. For example, you have an example of the vehicles, and in the vehicles we have bicycle, car, bike. Okay, and we see that they have common functionalities. So we can make an interface and put all these common functionalities. Okay, so it means here, if you see that vehicles, bicycles, cars, bike, you can categorize them as vehicles. Now, vehicles have some properties that are common, that these objects are common to them. But when you want to, if you want these particular types of vehicles like bicycle, car, bike, to implement the vehicle methods in their own way, you can use the interface. You can use interfaces. Okay, so to define an interface, you are now going to use, instead of using the extent, you are going to use implements. Okay, the difference with the interfaces is that you are going to use implements. Look at what has happened here. Here you have the interface vehicle. You have defined an interface vehicle. And in the interface vehicle, you have defined all the methods. And these are abstract methods. You have defined the change gear, you have defined the change speed up, you have defined apply brakes. But now, what is going to happen is that all these types of vehicles, when you say class bicycle implements vehicle, it is taking all these properties of vehicle, but now you can override them and define them in your own way. Okay, override them and define them in your own way. You define, in fact, the interface will be more like a template, because you are able to take this, inherit all these properties, but now for each type of vehicle, like the bicycle, you would define its own way that it changes its gear. You override. For speed up, you will define the way it speeds up and all of that. Okay, so This is the second exercise that you're going to do. We are ending here. So this is the second exercise that you're going to do. You are going to implement this interface. So you have basically two exercises. The first exercise is to work on this inheritance and inheritance hierarchy. And you are supposed to personalize it, add another animal, okay, and implement unique specific methods. You should add other animals here and you implement specific methods for these animals, okay? I hope you are taking note the assignment. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
And then
Yes,
the second one or the last one is for the interfaces where you will compile this code and you will try to execute to give us the results. Okay. So I think that's all what we have to do for about abstract classes. You can look at it, and in our next lesson, we will, if you have difficulties, we can discuss about it briefly in our next lesson. Okay. All right.
okay, sir.
So I think we are going to end there for today, and thanks you for joining the class, and we shall see you next time.
Sir.